And welcome back. Well, the EPA and the Surgeon General's office estimate that about 21,000 people die every year in the U.S. from lung cancer as a result of radon exposure. That's almost twice as much as deaths due to drunk driving.
Unbelievable, right? Mike Sylvester is with Lifetime Home Services. He's here to explain more about home testing and possible solutions too if you have high levels of radon in your home. Great to see you again.
Yeah, good to be back.
Super important reminder because I feel like there's so much about smoke detectors. There's so much about carbon monoxide and having those detectors.
Since you brought that up, you guys both have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, right?
Yes.
Do you guys know how many people die of carbon monoxide poisoning every year?
No. How many?
400.
Oh,
and you just mentioned
no way.
21,000 people die of radon.
Wow. I feel like radon is so underexposed. That's not the right word, but so underappreciated as a threat to our health.
Yeah, it's a threat that a lot of people don't know about. I think part of the reason is because it is colorless and odorless, and we can't taste it, so it's hard to really fathom sometimes.
And does it take a long time of exposure for it to be a significant problem? Is that also part of it, that it's slow growing?
Yes, and a lot of the symptoms won't show until it's too late. So with radon or any like radioactive exposure, long exposure over long periods of time can cause those problems.
So what is it? Because a lot of people think of carbon monoxide coming from, things inside the home of appliances or things and different ways, but radon is a natural gas, right?
Naturally occurring radioactive gas that comes from the rocks in the soil. So all rocks contain uranium, but some rocks have higher than average uranium contents. A lot of like metamorphic rocks and sedimentary rocks, your sandstone, your limestone, granite. We have a lot of those rocks around here. Red granite is our state rock.
Yeah. So it causes generally lung cancer. That's how it's in its most dangerous form.
Yes.
It's our lungs that react to that exposure.
Radon is the #2 cause of lung cancer in the United States.
A very deadly form of cancer.
Yes, tough to treat as well. There are links to other health issues, but they aren't as scientifically proven as lung cancer, like stomach cancer and liver cancer and even emphysema.
I mean, just reading some of this, why you should be concerned, it was like the equivalents are shocking. So for smoking, it's the equivalent of having 8 cigarettes per day of having radon exposure, right?
That's at 4 picocuries per liter. So our
4 pico what?
So our action
Pico
level.
de gallos.
Pico de gallos.
Good and bad. So there's really no good or safe level of radon, but the EPA has put out some standards for us. And what they tell us, if you're at or above this 4 number, that's when you want to take care of that problem. And even if you're between a 2 and a 4, you should strongly consider it based on how you utilize that space.
So freak us out.
Yeah.
Have you ever
that's
tested
like the lowest.
and somebody's like way above 4? Like what numbers have you seen?
The highest test I've ever personally picked up in a residential home was a 59, which would be the health risk equivalent of about 120 cigarettes a day.
Oh my gosh.
The highest commercial property that I ever picked up and tested myself was 159.
Whoa.
So you can be exposed at work too. An important reminder to maybe encourage your employer to test for it.
Absolutely. And we have both residential and commercial mitigation teams.
So how do you test for it? What's the process like when someone needs to figure out, like, is there radon affecting us in our home or our work?
Yeah, lots of different ways to test, lots of different ways to get tests. There's 2 common tests, a charcoal test and a digital test. We like to use the digital test. Calling us would probably be the easiest way to get one because it's free through us. We'll come out, we'll drop off that digital monitor. It's going to read radon, barometric pressure, temperature, and humidity for 48 hours. And then we're going to come back, we're going to get those results, we're going to present them to you, send you a home report for your records. And if the levels come back unsafe, we're going to offer to give you some mitigation options.
Sign me up.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
how easy is that? And it's so important, it seems like, to know. Okay, so let's say you have a level 2 to 4, which is a concern, or definitely over 4.
Yeah.
What is the mitigation strategy? How does that look and work?
Yeah, we go through a process called sub-slab depressurization. And while it sounds fancy, it's not really that expensive, guys. It's very manageable for somebody's budget. But essentially, we're creating a negative pressure underneath the house using PVC pipe and a fan to pull the radon gas out and mitigate it to the exterior where it's easily diluted. When I was
You can get rid of it.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, they always said the solution to pollution is dilution.
I remember that.
I love that you remember that. That's great. Doesn't it also help with humidity? So it can help with mold and things like that in the basement.
Yeah, so the added benefit
Yeah.
of radon mitigation is going to be moisture reduction as well. And actually back in the 80s when people were still skeptical about radon, they sold these as whole home dehumidifiers with the added benefit of radon mitigation. So yeah, system can remove up to 12 gallons of moisture per day,
Wow.
which helps reduce indoor mold and mildew and
Yeah.
other indoor air quality issues.
Wow.
And is that usually where things are? It's in the basement, right, that you're putting these systems?
They start typically in the basement,
Yeah.
and then they go to the outside, or sometimes they run through the garage, but they always end up, the top of the stack is always going to be on the exterior of the home.
Yep.
To get it outside.
It seems like winter would be
Yeah.
a great time to test. I don't know why, but we're all shut in. The doors are shut. The
Contained.
heat's on. It's contained. It seems like a great time to do
Yeah.
this. Thank you so much.
Good
There's
to see you,
so
Mike.
much great education in this segment. Thank you so much. And right now, Lifetime Home Services is offering a free 48-hour digital home radon test, no strings attached. No obligation. Also, they have $100 off a radon system install along with a free 2-year extended warranty. Call this number. It's 262-955-5701 to schedule your free radon test after mine is scheduled at my house because I'm going to be first.
There's no reason not to do one. It's important.
I'm just joking, but yeah, call now.